Nigeria, the country with the second largest economy in all of Africa. Nigeria, with one of the greatest, or should I say biggest, amount of citizens in the global diaspora. Nigeria, what a country. Nigeria was listed as the happiest country in February 2011 after a global study regarding over 200 countries in terms of their happiness, economic index, global domestic output, etc. This is such an irony because Nigeria right now is far from that happy country it once was almost 10 years ago. I don't think it is exactly happiness. I think it is seeing everything that you can possibly do to make yourself happy according to the eyes of a citizen. It is trying your best to enjoy what you have and not looking for anything else because you wouldn't find. However, today in this documentary, I remove this blanket of lies and I show you the real Nigeria. I have to, because if not me, who else? No one will tell you the truth, but the outside world needs to know, at least for anyone who cares. As I start this, I fear nothing will change. I may see international outcry and promises of help, but none will come. The only foreigners that come here are the ones with businesses, land, making money at our expense, and by that I mean the locals. From restaurants to clubs to bars to recreational centers, Nigeria, specifically Lagos, has all these, including exclusive parties and buildings, and only if you are British or only if you are international can you really enjoy these, great facilities like hotels, 5-star room service, and so on and so forth. The treaty and deals between the government and these foreigners must be very lucrative or beneficial for both parties. Even supermarkets where locals buy food and tools to just live and exist are not owned by Lagosians, at least not where I grew up, which is sad, quite sad if you think about it. This subtle racism is a phenomenon occurring in many countries across Africa and involves Chinese, Japanese, Lebanese, etc. who come here to exploit and harvest and grow their families and businesses at our expense. But this isn't about these people. These are innocent foreigners who, like a lot of people in this world, just saw a ticket, a meal ticket, a golden ticket, a lottery ticket, whatever ticket you want to call, and just realized this is the best thing for their family, this is the best way to grow economically, financially, in terms of happiness. I don't blame them. I blame Nigeria as a whole, the leaders. This also leads me to my theory of what I call the African inferiority complex. Since the days of the slave trade, things like this keep happening because of both parties. Leaders' ignorance and indifference, their only desire to get money and having no value or see no value in their African brothers and sisters. And secondly, the way these foreigners look down or are racist or see low value or see stupidity or loopholes in our economy. Hence they come, they exploit. They think we are too weak, too stupid, too divided, too greedy, too corrupt and too short-sighted to see how we can benefit from this land ourselves. So they take and they take and they take. This is the growing epidemic and perception of Africans for the last few centuries. Because Africa is the way it is, the outside world looks down on us. Various examples include things like death tolls, disasters, tragedies being completely ignored by international news. The way Africa is excluded from a lot of global talks, tours, award shows, events, festivals, and so on and so forth. The way we are portrayed in media, from films to television, to even a lack of representation of characters with deep stories told. None or very few exist. There is no sign, or they are non-existent most of the time. Everything is a cycle, and all these spokes on the wheel help each other to fuel this incessant lag. I say all this as a means of context to you, the audience, so you can understand just how bad these protests of 2020 became and how everything accumulated to the disaster it turned out to be. The protests that happened in October 2020 was actually one of the darkest events in recent Nigerian memory. It was a culmination and accumulation of everything that I have just been speaking about. It was deadly, catastrophic, and most of all, it traumatized all Lagosians. I'll start with this. Around mid-October, there were outcries and protests because recently a lot of individuals, a lot of citizens, innocent citizens had lost their lives due to police misconduct and corruption and falsifying evidence as to the whereabouts of these victims. Their families complained and they protested how police officers harass, humiliate, and try and extort young Nigerians around Lagos. I speak about Lagos specifically because this is where I'm from and this is what I know. But apparently, according to them, if you are dressing so nice, or if you had a certain hairstyle, or if you had certain jewelry on you, or a certain phone, they will think that you are what is known as a Yahoo boy or a G boy. All of this led to protests around the Lekki Ikoyi toll gate, which ended up resulting in a lot of people coming together, a lot of people trying to come together for a cause, come together for an idea. The movement was bigger than any one victim. The movement was bigger than any one complaint, any one police officer, any one crime official. Due to influence from Western media, like the BLM movement against Republicans, racists, white supremacists. I think this influenced a lot of Nigerians, especially Nigerian youths, to come together on the streets of Lagos and protest. And it wasn't just about police brutality, it was about the root cause of the problem. Police brutality, police corruption, police extortion was only a vice, a social vice. There are so many social vices which is caused by the root, and the root is or was or is, depending on who you ask, bad governance, corruption, bad infrastructure, like basically corruption and lawlessness in Lagos, Nigeria. Corruption, lawlessness, no accountability of leaders, no way of anybody accounting for anything, power given to the powerful, the weak and the poor dying with no sense of care or value of them existing in the world. All of this led to devices, which is things like police corruption, unprecedented unemployment, uneducated children. Nigeria has the highest amount of uneducated youth on a global scale in the whole of Africa, and I'm sure in the Western world if we do some research. But anyway, tribalism, bribery, no cooperation, stigma of the nation, a wealth gap between the rich and the poor, abundance of poverty, bad economy, Lagosians importing every single product and not creating jobs or businesses to make these products of their own accord. This all made things worse and made people have the passion and the decency to join the movement. The naira relative to other currencies in the economy is so bad that people are just inspired to come out. Word of mouth spread, things spread, and everybody and their cousin and their brother and their sister came to protest. What turned into a small protest turned out to be something big as a festival. We all were there. We all complained about the currency in the economy compared to the dollar, compared to the pound, the euro. We complained about bad leadership, a lack of awareness, a lack of care for climate change, nepotism, crime, no electricity, no light, no growth for small businesses, everybody forced to cheat each other, everyone having a hustler mentality, the fellow Nigerian forced to only care about their own family and their own direct relatives. Just very sad. We only come together for football matches and to sing the national anthem and nothing else. That was what I told a friend, and I actually believe that the reason for this movement was this was all we had. The only thing that our leaders don't have as power over us was our voice. The power of social media was displayed throughout the decade. BLM, Yemen, Brazil, all these protests inspired this movement. And then, on that fateful day of October 20th, 2020, an anonymous party gave the Nigerian military the order to shoot and fire and kill innocent Nigerians. A day we can never forget. From artists singing songs, celebrities on Twitter crying out loud for Nigeria and its heartlessness, word spread. What was the aftermath? Global coverage. As a result, innocent citizens and civilians lost their lives on that fateful day. People were shot, killed, their bodies were thrown away into morgues, hidden in gutters to avoid media coverage, to avoid evidence. So much happened. A popular DJ, whose name I wouldn't want to say, was on Instagram Live showing all the events, all sorts of celebrities from all over the world, from hip-hop artists to media moguls to models to heads of companies, were on the live, including CNN, watching and listening to her horrific account of what was going on and how they were trying to keep the rest of the country and the world in the dark, denying the claims, even up to now. The aftermath of this was global coverage, worldwide ridicule of the Nigerian government and their failure to listen to their citizens' plea for a better country, a better city, a better state, a better way of living. As such, lots of influencers and artists were bribed. I still ponder on who accepted the bribes or not, but what I do know is that a lot was said. Multiple countries, including the United Nations, had discussions about what happened. Artists released songs, as I discussed earlier, and most importantly, it put a focal lens on Nigeria for the next few days, next few weeks. There were questions from the outside world. There was talk of international intervention, but nothing came out of it. Nothing according to my public knowledge. Then came the president's mandate to block Nigerians from using, accessing, and expressing themselves on Twitter. Possibly his last straw after Twitter labeled his hate speech as offensive and concerning, almost like a dictator. This Twitter ban is still going on today. And though Nigerians have found other ways to access the platform, the damage has already been done. So much has been said about this day, from government actions being condemned, to utter silence from our leaders, to nobody taking accountability for what occurred that day, to parents of missing children complaining that they've not seen their children anymore after that fateful day, to videos of citizens dancing, and then the next slide, they are on the floor, bloodied, battered and bruised. Very, very graphic. Till today, the government, our leaders have denied anyone died. They have said that the media is trying to create speculation and making up lies, even though CNN and other news outlets have done a thorough investigation and proven their lies to be well known, I should say, or for evidence to show that people actually lost their lives that fateful night. I was one of them. 2 days ago, I was there marching and protesting for a better Nigeria. God knows, if I was there 2 days later, what would have happened? Leaders came to the area, supposedly found the camera. The video is still online, caused a lot of Nigerians to laugh during this pain. All Nigerians can do is laugh during this time of suffering. Anyway, moving forward, as said before, CNN Africa did a deep investigation, found evidence of blood, bodies, survivors' testimonies, speech from loved ones, and so on and so forth, using advanced technology, drones. You can look it up. But still, no accountability, still no arrests. This is the main problem with the country, and what I believe leads to every other vice, lawlessness. Like a root, it keeps sprouting and sprouting, bringing symptoms and signs of this lawlessness along the way. Comparing Nigeria's state to other countries is just laughable at the moment. With the recent anniversary of the disaster that just came to pass, and with Lagosians using smarter ways to protest, still they received antagonizing and bullying from law enforcers and police, who were obviously deployed by these faceless leaders to come and destroy the commotion before another global outcry was made. Now, with the newly formed Lagos Council, whom was tasked with proving the disaster happened and finding sufficient evidence of violence and foul play, they have recently released statements, reports and results of what exactly occurred that fateful night. And everything that was released agreed with the news outlets who found evidence of foul play and violence. Now, the question I ask you, the audience, is what can be done? What should be done? In conclusion, there's a reason why the Nigerian diaspora is so gigantic. There's a reason why all the friends I grew up with have left my city for greener pastures. There's a reason why I'm trying to leave. I see it as the only way to make Nigeria better, which is making myself better first. Progress in my industry could lead to higher status and power, which could in turn help me change the country as these new leaders fade and we, my friends and I, come back with resources, money, status and willpower to help the next generation. The sins of our fathers and forefathers may have slighted us greatly, but that doesn't mean we can't change the status quo. We, and only we, can be our last line of defense in regards to saving Nigeria. No international body, no other country, no international citizen, foreigner, nobody, and I mean nobody, cares as much as we do. Only we can change the narrative. Like I said at the start of this video, if not us, then who?